Hello and a very warm welcome. Welcome back to this series where together we are trying to develop a strategy that gets you 300 plus a score in botany optional in the civil service main examination and a score with similar percentage in the Indian Forest Service examination if that is the examination you are targeting for. This is essentially a six-part video series mainly aimed to help the candidates who are preparing for civil service examination or IFS examination of 2025 or 2026. This is not a series for 2024 candidates, as I have earlier said in this series only. So in this series, through the six videos, we have already understood the broader strategy of botany optional. Then we took a deeper look on the syllabi of botany paper 1 and paper 2. Then we have also discussed the choice of books and other resources for botany optional. And now in this fourth video, we are basically going to see how to study, how to make your notes, how to revise, and how to manage your time so well that along with your botany optional, you are also able to give the needed amount of time, energy, and attention to your general studies preparation. In the upcoming videos, we are basically going to take a look into how to write answer and how to finally get ready for the examination by tying everything up together and be examination ready. So two more videos to go after this one. I hope you have already seen the previous videos of this series. If not, please make time to go through the previous videos. They will definitely be adding value to your botany preparation and they will be putting your botany preparation on the right track. In this fourth video of the series, like I said, our focus is going to be on how to study, how to make notes, how to revise, and how to carry out time management. Let us start with the very first thing, how to study. There is a certain method to study systematically the botany optional. Even if you are not from botany optional and if you happen to be watching this video, I can very confidently tell you that the same strategy will work for almost any other optional if you are aspiring to get 300 plus a score. So if botany is not your optional, but if still you are watching this video, please stay with this video at least for this first and second part, that is the notes making part. They are the tips that I have shared in these two parts. The tips are going to be valid for other optional subjects also. Having said that, let us take a look on how to study. So before you actually undertake a study, you have to prepare yourself for optimal study. You have to make sure that you are studying in a manner that gives you the maximum for your time and energy. So these are the six things that I would like to focus upon. The first thing is that you should be adopting a modular approach. What do I mean by modular approach? By modular approach, I mean that you should be looking at one segment of the botany syllabus at a time. There is no need to cover the basic book cover to cover entirely and then come to the advanced civil service main level preparation for one segment. If let us suppose you are going to start with cryptograms, what I would suggest that if you do not have the background in cryptograms, pick up the zero level book that I have suggested in the previous video. That means pick up the first basic building book for cryptogram I study cryptogram from that basic book and then directly start with the advanced level preparation for cryptogram. It is totally all right if in your basic book you have not yet read genetics. When the time to do genetics comes, you will be doing genetics basics as well. But what I'm trying to say that whatever area that you are going to start with in a civil service oriented manner, first and foremost, do its basics, then follow certain steps, finish this area, and then move to the next area. There is no need that you have to cover the basic book entirely before starting with the advanced level preparation. That will actually keep you in the world of basic book for far too long period of time, which is just not desirable. So adopt a modular mindset when you are doing one particular segment of the syllabus. Start from zero and take it to the level that is needed for the civil service examination. So adopting a modular mindset. Now, second point is that you have to start with the basics of a particular section. This is especially true for two set of candidates. One, you do not have a botany background in your graduation. That means that you have not studied botany as a major subject of your graduation. In that case, you will be starting with a basic book. Or for that matter, if you are studying botany all by self-study, then also I would highly recommend that you should be starting with a basic book. That gives you a conceptual platform to build your advanced preparation upon. That will be immensely helpful. Your answers will get a new depth that people having ignored the basic would not be able to touch. The third point here to basically create the list of topics of a particular section. So the UPSC has very nicely laid out the botany syllabus as I have already discussed in the syllabus analysis, minus the cryptograms. But for cryptograms, last 20 years question will give you a fairly good idea what are the questions that you have to work towards. But for all other areas, UPSC has very nicely, elaborately given you the syllabus, create a list of all the topics that the UPSC has given and break sometimes comma separated list into a vertical list. Let us say that when the UPSC says that you have to study a structure and multiplication of viruses, prions, bacteria, mycoplasmas, fungi, what you should be writing: a structure of viruses, multiplication of viruses, a structure of bacteria, multiplication of bacteria, a structure of mycoplasmas, multiplication of mycoplasma. So you create a vertical list of topics. Once you have created that list of topics, you are ready to move to a stage 4 of your study preparation. And that is, you have to grade the topics. No, you have to study the PYQ and then you will be coming to the grading, of course. So you have to study the PYQ for the last 15 years. So when you study the PYQ for the last 15 years, you quickly understand that these are the topics which are really important for the civil service examination, and there are certain topics which have not been asked that frequently in the examination. Once you understand that, you will be able to grade the topics as to which topic is more important than others. So you will be creating a graded list of topics. One set of topics will be comprising of the topics which have been asked in the last 15 years, and the other set of topics would be some topics which have not been touched upon in the last 15 years. That level of clarity is very important, especially in the later stage of revision. You will be using your main focus on the topics which have been asked in the last 15 years. Therefore, a graded list of topics should be there with you right from the first stage of your preparation. So you have gone through the PYQ as a stage 4, and then in stage 5, what you are going to do is to grade the topics. So the topics are now graded, the topics which have been asked and the topics which have not been asked in the last 15 years. For that, you will have to very meticulously go through the last 15 years of question paper. It is very much a part of your preparation. You should not be shying away from that. Okay. And now you are ready to go for the sixth stage of your preparation. And based on your PYQ study only, you are going to finish the sixth stage of your preparation. And what is the sixth stage of your preparation? The sixth stage of preparation basically pertains to the creation of subtopics under each topic. When you have created subtopics under each topic, that is entirely based on your insights gained from the PYQ analysis, you will be able to basically divide the topic into question-worthy themes, question-worthy dimensions, and that will sharpen your focus on those things which are more meaningful for the examination. Therefore, merely a list of topics is never enough. You have to add subtopics. Where you will be adding subtopics from? If you are self-studying, then the subtopics have to be added based on the PYQ. That will give you a very clear roadmap onto what to focus upon. Okay, so now you have divided the topics into subtopics. I call it divide and rule. So DNR that you are seeing here, so that is the DNR I am basically talking about. Okay, now I'm giving you two examples on how to divide a topic into subtopics. Let us say that during your PYQ analysis, you have already discovered that the green algal genus Volvox is an important genus to be studied. But that is not enough to know. You need to know what in Volvox is more important than others. And based on what has been asked, what further could be asked to you in the upcoming examination. Hence, the graded list is needed, but at the same time, you should not merely be focusing upon whatever has been asked, because UPSC does not guarantee that I'll keep asking what I have been asking in the past. UPSC is going to set some fresh questions also. Therefore, you are going to go a little beyond the PYQ definitely. So here we are. In Volvox, the first heading is going to be basics. Basically, there is never a question on basics, but basics is needed so that you can write a good introduction to whatever question is asked on Volvox. So essentially classification of Volvox, and then habit and habitat of Volvox. Then we come to the structure of Volvox, and in a structure, basically the unique type of multicellular and colonial transitional structure that we find in Volvox that we call cenobium. So cenobium is a specialized type of colony, a bit closer to an advanced organization in the direction of multicellularity, though there is an evolutionary debate also that is Volvox really the precursor to true multicellular form. Nevertheless, a cenobium is a little more advanced form of a colony where the number of cells are predefined, the shape is predefined, and there might be an elementary level of division of labor also. So what are the features of Volvox cenobium and how it is different from an ordinary colony? That will be an important question to be asked, and mark it. I have marked it in orange color. The reason is there has already been a question which has been asked on Volvox colony structure, Volvox cenobium structure, and how we can consider it as an advanced structure. So here we are. I have highlighted it. So this is what I mean by creating a list of subtopics under each topic, but at the same time, I'm going to grade the subtopics which are asked in the last 15 years. Then I come to reproduction. In reproduction, there is asexual reproduction that is known as autocolony formation, and then there is sexual reproduction that we simply know as oogamous sexual reproduction. Question has been asked on oogamous sexual reproduction and not so much on no, autocolony formation. So if you see, I have highlighted sexual process in orange color, whereas I have not highlighted autocolony formation. It basically means that question has not been asked in the last 15 years on autocolony formation, but on the sexual process in the last 15 years question has been asked. But it does not mean that UPSC will never ask a question on autocolony formation. Therefore, this is something I am going to study. Lot of candidates commit this mistake by focusing on only the questions which have been asked in the last 10 years or 15 years. This is a very risky strategy and almost a sure shot way of missing questions in the main examination, and that totally ruins the picture in the main examination. Do not do that. Therefore, bring all the relevant subtopics, and some of the subtopics are more important than others. I have already explained that. Then finally, another dimension is advanced features in Volvox. When you study Volvox, it will be apparent that Volvox sexual reproduction, its asexual reproduction, or for that matter, the kind of colony construction that Volvox displays, all of these things are significantly more advanced in Volvox compared to whole lot of green algae. Therefore, in my mind, the thing is playing that perhaps on Volvox advanced features, there can be a short tail in a bigger question. A short tail may require you to write only 5 to 7 points, but if you do not know with what points you are going to defend the advanced features of Volvox, you are going to be in a fix if it comes as a part of the question. Now, another example here is respiratory electron transport from paper 2. It is a part of aerobic respiration process in plant physiology. Now, respiratory electron transport, let us see, this is a topic. What are the subtopics which fit in here? Again, basics. What is respiratory electron transport? What is the context of respiratory electron transport? So you are basically going to say that in aerobic respiration of a carbohydrate, when it is metabolized in a cell, the final stage is known as oxidative phosphorylation. Oxidative phosphorylation has got two parts. One part is respiratory electron transport, during which a proton gradient is generated in a transmembrane manner across the mitochondrial membrane, mitochondrial inner membrane. And this proton is later used, the energy of these protons gets later used to synthesize ATP, something that is known as chemiosmotic synthesis of ATP. So, oxidative phosphorylation has got two parts: oxidation of highly energetic redox intermediates, that is NADH and FADH2, and then phosphorylation of ADP into ATP. And it is in that context of aerobic respiration that respiratory electron transport fits. Then next heading is going to be organization. Now on organization, question has been asked. Organization is basically what are the complexes and what are the mobile electron carriers which make this respiratory electron transport possible. So you need to know about the protein complexes. What are the protein complexes which make the respiratory electron transport possible? There are four complexes to be precise. Give an account of each complex. What are the cofactors? How many peptides are there, and which agent it oxidizes and which agent it reduces. What is its redox behavior? And then in the respiratory electron transport system, there are two mobile electron carriers. One is coenzyme Q and second one is cytochrome C. All right. So coenzyme Q and cytochrome C, they both happen to be important mobile carriers about which also you need to write. Then the organization part will be done. On the organization, question has been asked. Question has also been asked on the operation of the respiratory electron transport. Therefore, the subtopics under process, flow of electron and movement of proton from the mitochondrial matrix into the perimitochondrial space is something that you need to know in detail. And with a frequency of once in 4 years, botany plant physiology question paper invariably includes cyanide resistant flow of electrons. So that is something you have to study separately. And finally, what is the outcome of the entire process? The outcome is nothing but accumulation of protons in the intermembrane space of the mitochondria that generates sufficient level of proton motive force, which will be later harnessed by the ATP synthase complex to synthesize ATP. And this is the process by which most of the ATP get generated in a cell. So I hope you have understood the first six parts. Just to review, you have to adopt a modular approach. That will mean that one section at a time. And once you have decided which section you have to study, you will be starting with the basics of the section. Once you are done with the basics of the section, you will be creating a vertical list of all the topics. Fourth, you will be going to study the 15 years of PYQ. You will be identifying which all topics have been asked in the last 15 years. That will create a graded list that these are the top grade topics because on this last 15 years have given me some question, and then you will be adding subtopics. I have given you two examples of creating subtopics, and if you notice, and this is very important to notice, that I have not created a list of subtopics by merely focusing on what has been asked and ignoring the rest. I have included other question worthy dimensions as well. And then we come to the actual study part. So when you come to the actual study part, first and foremost, you have to start from your primary source. Primary source is going to be the textbook that I have suggested you in the previous video. So for every segment of botany syllabus, I have suggested you a primary advanced level textbook to be studied after the zero level basic book. So pick up the primary source and then focus only on the topic and the subtopics which are there in your list. Without having a topic and subtopic level clarity, you will try to read the entire chapter. That will actually waste your time so humongously that it will put you on a different track of botany preparation where your effort will not necessarily translate into a score. Therefore, even before you open the advanced level textbook, you need to have total clarity about what are the topics and subtopics that I am going to look for. And then you open the book, understand each subtopic well. Botany is primarily an understanding driven topic. If you feel that this is a subject where we have to memorize a lot, you are not approaching it right. Basically, it is an understanding driven subject. Yes, 15 to 20% of the content may have to be memorized, but only 15 to 20%. The remaining 80 to 85% of the syllabus is going to be driven by nothing but understanding. Therefore, make sure that you are understanding each and everything. And when you are trying to make a reading with an intention to understand the things, keep underlining or keep highlighting every important conceptual bit and every important factual bit. But at this stage, refrain from making notes, because if you start making notes at this stage, your notes will be too bulky. You will end up copying a lot of things which you are not actually going to use in the examination. So in the first reading, do not make any notes. Now you move to stage 3. If there is anything missing, something that has been asked in the examination, but your primary resource is not giving you, move to some authentic internet website which can give you exactly the information which has been asked in the examination, but which your primary resource is not giving you adequately. This is going to happen very, very rarely. The books that I have advised you in my previous video, those books are so well written and so well aligned to the civil service syllabus that you will actually not need to look any further. Nevertheless, if there is any problem, you should be looking into some authentic websites on the internet. The hallmark of an authentic website is that it generally belongs to some university and the page has been created by some professor. That is the hallmark of an authentic site. Do not rely on Wikipedia or do not rely on just any web page that is likely to give you incomplete, shallow, or sometimes even inaccurate information. Now, the fourth point is second reading. And when you are doing the second reading, you are basically jumping from one highlighted passage to another highlighted passage. And it is at this stage you are going to make your notes. And that brings us to the second segment of our how to study part, that is how to make notes. There are these 5 aspects of notes making. Move clockwise. First and foremost, your notes have to aid you in very fast revision. The notes are basically your resource that you will be reading again and again. The notes ought to be in just 10% volume of the textbook. If the textbook explains something in 10 pages, in your notes, it should fit within 1 page. Second thing is, you do not have to capture everything from the textbook. You have to apply the filter that what I can be using in the examination. Sometimes to meet with the essential demands of the question, sometimes to basically create a competitive edge for yourself. But in all cases, the notes have to be very, very crisp, concise. That is the first quality of a good set of notes, which you will be able to revise many times. The more you revise, the better you retain, the better you recall, and the better you perform in the main examination. Second thing is, wherever there is a conceptual thing, you have to rephrase the concepts. Try to rephrase the concepts in your own language. When you have gone through this exercise, you will tend to understand the concepts clearer and you are going to retain this understanding for a much longer period of time. If you have not rephrased the concepts, in that case, it is likely that you will have to resort to memorization. And the moment you resort to memorization, another inescapable part is forgetting. So you memorize, you forget, and you understand, you never forget. Okay. So try to rephrase. That is a very important step in the direction of understanding the subject. Even though your notes are very crisp and you have brought the concepts in your own language, the notes have to be very rich in all the key facts and examples. With facts and examples, you have to be totally uncompromising. You have to pick up all the facts, all the examples which are relevant to be put in an answer, and you need to have that filter in your mind that what is that I can use, what is that I will not get to use. What you think you will not be able to use, please do not bring it in your notes. But what you remotely feel that, okay, I might need this in my answer, make sure that it is coming from the textbook into your notes so that next time you do not need to go back to the textbook. All that you have to revise is from your notes. So notes have to be very rich in all the key facts and all the key examples. Next, if there is a diagram, the diagrams have to be a part of your notes because diagram making is an important part of botany preparation. Therefore, all the illustrations which are to be there in a particular topic in an answer, all of them have to find a place in your notes also. And finally, each dimension of a question, each dimension of a topic, that is each subtopic, should be in less than 25 points, less than 25 points. Some of them can even be in 10 points, some of them can be even in 5 points. But even if it is a very long subtopic, it should not be going beyond 25 points, because realistically speaking, even if you are writing a question for 20 marks, you will not be able to write more than 25 points. And if you are writing an answer in 25 points for 20 marks, trust me, 99% of your competitors will not be able to bring that level of information richness in their answer. So no answer should be based on anything more than 25 points. And that will mean that no dimension, no subtopic of a given topic needs to be treated in more than 25 points. That will be wastage of your time. These are the 5 things that you will be keeping in mind. But after explaining this principle, here is the illustration where I have made a note for myself on the types of RNA. I have tried to compress it in 25 points. You may like to pause the video and go through these slides. I have, just to keep the font bigger, what I have done, that I have divided it into 5 parts. So types of RNA. So first and foremost, I basically say that there are several types of RNA found in a cell, and eukaryotes have greater RNA diversity. Then there are 3 main classes, and sometimes you have to think out of the box. So most of the books will give you that there are 2 main classes, coding and non-coding. But who talks about the genomic RNA which so many viruses possess? Therefore, this is the extra edge, this is the touch that you can give, and you can reap very handsome rewards in the examination. If you're not standing apart from your competitors, what is your claim to some extra marks compared to your competitors? So you have to all the time thinking that how am I standing out? So you do the core thing, but then you also have to think about how am I standing out? If you do not give it a thought, be sure that you are preparing the subject, but you are not competing. You have to prepare the subject and you have to compete. If not, you are not in a competition. Okay. So then I explain genomic RNA very crisply found in some viruses, examples. So I'm making it rich in examples, and then some of them may be retrovirus, but I'm refraining from over explaining. Now I'm not going to explain what is a retrovirus. When that topic comes, I will explain retrovirus, but here there is no need to explain retrovirus. I'm not explaining retrovirus. And then I come to non-coding RNA rather than non-coding. Coding RNA, that is mRNA. Then the points about mRNA, not more than that, because my answer has to be balanced. So I've given more than enough number of points for mRNA, and then I come for non-coding RNA. Then ribosomal RNA, transfer RNA, a small nuclear RNA, a small nucleolar RNA, PV interacting RNA, microRNA, long non-coding RNA, circular RNA, enhancer RNA, these many types. So I have gone for a very high quality research to bring all these points. But do you notice how crisply I have brought the points? So that if I'm having to write an answer on the types of RNA, I am standing head and shoulder above my competitors in 2 ways. First, I make my answer much more diverse based on the current status of knowledge on the types of RNA. And second, despite that, I have tried to bring it within 25 points, so that even if I am writing a 20 marker answer in botany optional, I am not running short of facts and I'm not having to repeat myself. I am giving with every single sentence my examiner a new fact or a new concept, so that the examiner gets to know my range. And that is how examiner gets inclined to reward you more than 60%, even in the range of 70%. We often complain इस subject में marks नहीं आते, but we never look inwards कि इस subject में हमने effort कितना डाला है. And the world does not work this way कि आप effort नहीं डालोगे, आप input नहीं डालोगे और आप चाहोगे कि आपको सारे reward मिल जाए. At least in the UPSC main examination that does not happen. Okay. And now how to revise. When we come to how to revise, there are going to be 6 different phases of revision, and each phase has its own nature. So this is something I have actually distilled from my 20 years of teaching experience. And the first cycle of revision that always goes with your coverage. So the first cycle of revision is the revision that goes with your coverage, and this is solely rereading. जो आपने पढ़ा है उसको दोबारा पढ़ लो. So basically जब आपने बुक को एक बार पढ़ी, फिर दूसरी बार पढ़ी, देन यू मेक नोट्स. अब आपने जो नोट्स बनाई ना, you read the notes again. That is your first revision. And at no stage try to memorize the things. Just read it with 100% concentration. That will be more than enough. But read it nicely. If needed, you can underline important things with pencil, which you think you are going to forget. Okay. After that, the intense revision starts. That is active recall at short laps, which will mean that let's say that this is your RNA notes, है ना? So you read the RNA notes nicely as you want to read. You read your RNA notes. Give yourself half an hour break. Try to recreate the same notes out of your memory. That is your active recall. Whatever you are unable to recall, leave a gap and finish it in entirety. Whatever you are able to recall, usse finish kar lo. Leave the gap, whatever you could not recall. Then go back to your notes, handmade notes, and try to fill the gaps in your recall sheet with a red color ink so that you exactly remember what was that thing you had forgotten in the first cycle of recall, because these are the things which you are more likely to forget even in the later cycles of revision. Therefore, you need to write them with some different color of ink. Next is active recall post a long lapse. In this case, at least after 24 hours, you are going to recall something. So you have read something, you are not immediately going to recall. After 1 day, 2 days, you are going to write this thing. See how much you can recall. After the second active recall, you will have most of the facts and concepts about a particular topic very nicely set in your mind. उसके बाद there is no problem. But the first active recall and the second active recall are going to take a lot of energy. So you will have to have the determination to go through these two active recalls. After that, again, you will come to the easier thing, that is rereading. Now you can reread either your notes or your active recall sheet and you will be doing just fine. After that, you don't have to do active recall, you have to do mental recall. Don't write it, but close your eyes and run the entire topic in front of your eyes. See, can you recall? Can you recall this? What is that you are missing? And whatever you are missing, don't force your brain. Simply open your eyes and see, okay, ye hai. So that way you should try to recall. A lot of people will find it very funny, but it is so effective that only you will know what it is giving to you. And finally, what I call Total Recall. By the way, Total Recall was title of a very super hit Hollywood movie also. So in this Total Recall mode, what you are going to do is to join a test series. And in the test series, within the format of the UPSC answer, these are your notes. Your answers have to look very different. And I'm going to cover that in my next video, how to write answers. But based on the facts and concepts of your notes, you can write fantastic answers. So at this stage, you will be joining a test series. You will be writing the answers, full-fledged answers, the way UPSC expects you to write. That is your total recall exercise. After that, you will be ready to take any question paper of botany. That is how the six different flavors of revisions are, and they have to be followed in the same order. First and foremost, rereading, the easy one, then short lapse active recall, long lapse active recall, rereading, mental recall, total recall. This will set the entire syllabus in your mind like anything. So that's what revision would look like. You will have to plan and you have to create time for this revision. Finally, doing all of this, how do you manage your time with between botany and general studies? Here is my suggestion. First and foremost, from today until 31st of August 2024, what you have to do is to try and study 10 hours every day, including a coaching class if you are going through it. Okay. So including your coaching class, try to maintain a consistent level of study of 10 hours. And out of those 10 hours, without any hesitation, because you are preparing for 2025, at least for the next 6 months here, at least for the next 6 months, try to give 5 hours to botany. In these 5 hours, you will be progressing at a very high speed. And only for the next 6 months, you need to give 5 hours to botany. After that, the time that you are giving to botany is going to be much less. But initially, you will need to give 5 hours. Once you are done with your botany, once you are done with your botany, then from 1st of September until 28th of February of 2025, you give botany just 2 hours a day, because now you are simply revising botany. And at this stage, what you are going to do with botany is short laps, long laps, active recall. With your preparation, what you were doing, occasional short laps active recall and mostly rereading. But now you are ready to challenge yourself with short laps active recall, long laps active recall, and they are very, very intense exercise. So you do not really need to do for anything more than 2 hours. And rest of the time, you have to devote on general studies according to a particular plan. And then in March, April, and May of 2025, you do not have to give any time to botany. The theme of March, April, and May 2025 is going to be entirely around general studies and CSAT, and you will be tying everything up together for the prelim examination. And then in June, July, and August, that is immediately after your prelim, you have to give 5 hours to botany once again, because once you give those 5 hours, you will be totally ready for the main examination. So this time balance gives you ample opportunity to balance your botany with general studies. If you need to give more time than that on general studies, what is allowed by this plan, look closely on your general studies plan, because you are not following the right plan for general studies. Having a 1 year plus agenda on general studies, giving 5 hours a day on general studies for these 6 months, and after that, giving almost 8 hours a day on general studies, and after February, giving almost 10, 11 hours a day on general studies. If that is not enough, it certainly calls for re-evaluation of your general studies plan. Whoever has advised you this plan has not advised you the right plan, or if you have devised it yourself, you have not devised an accurate plan. You need to review this. So that is how you are going to revise and do your time management. Now, that brings us to an end of this video. And the next video is going to be very important. That is on how to write answers. So I hope up until now, this series had added value to your botany preparation, has helped you come on the right track of botany preparation. And I'm very confident that many of you would have already started your botany preparation according to this plan. So keep working on your subject. It is highly rewarding provided you do your bit. And if there is any doubt, any concern that you want me to address, please share them with us. I will try to make a video answering those queries as well. Till we meet again, everyone, goodbye and good luck with your studies.